Hi, everyone. It's Miss Akbari in the library. I have a bit of the book Artemis Fowl to share with you. This is a book that's in our sci-fi and dystopian section. So sci-fi and dystopian books usually feature very advanced technology, or they talk about worlds where something isn't quite as it should be. So this book is probably more on the sci-fi side of things. There's a lot of technology in this book. It almost has some fantasy elements to it as well, and I'll explain more of that in a minute. So I think one way that really helps describe the character of Artemis Fowl is by reading the very first couple pages. So this is a prologue. It's sort of something you need to understand before the story even starts. How does one describe Artemis Fowl? Various psychiatrists have tried and failed. The main problem is Artemis's own intelligence. He bamboozles every test thrown at him. He has puzzled the greatest medical minds and sent many of them gibbering to their own hospitals. There is no doubt that Artemis is a child prodigy, but why does someone of such brilliance dedicate himself to criminal activities? This is a question that can be answered by only one person, and he delights in not talking. Perhaps the best way to create an accurate picture of Artemis is to tell the by now famous account of his first villainous venture. I have put together this report from firsthand interviews with the victims, and as the tale unfolds, you will realize that this was not easy. The story began several years ago. At the dawn of the 21st century, Artemis Fowl had devised a plan to restore his family's fortune, a plan that could topple civilizations and plunge the planet into a cross-species war. He was 12 years old at the time. So what we learn from that prologue is that this book is going to tell the story of Artemis Fowl's first villainous adventure that happened when he was only 12. And at age 12, he's already so brilliant that he can manipulate all kinds of people and all kinds of events and kind of make things happen for himself. So Artemis and his family were very, very rich. Something happened with his father. It left a lot of struggle for Artemis's family. But he basically, while his mom is sort of dealing with grief, Artemis is sort of left on his own to go plan his own adventures. And so he does just that. He travels all around the world. What Artemis discovers in this first adventure, and you can decide if it's villainous or not, is he discovers that there is another species of creatures, beings living on the earth, and it's actually elves. So if you look at that second page, where it says chapter 1, the book, if you look at the bottom, you can see all these different characters. That's actually the language of the elves, and that kind of shows up throughout the book. So it's a really interesting story. It's the beginning of a whole series, and Artemis Fowl is a fascinating character because he reads a lot older than 12. But every once in a while he does, normal kid type things. But most of the time, he's plotting, he's scheming, he's thinking about 5 or 6 steps ahead of all the other adults around him. And that makes the book really fascinating to read. If you like a lot of action and adventure, if you like the idea of a preteen sort of taking over the world, if you like advanced technology, Artemis Fowl and the following books in the series might be a great book for you to read.